You know the cardinal rule of freelancing, which is never work without a contract. And Moxie makes that really easy to keep track of the contracts with each client that you're working with. When it comes to your clients, you can click into your client and click on agreements. This is going to show you every agreement that you've worked on with this client, and they'll always be in one place. You can also just click on agreements. You can see all of the agreements that you have done with all of your clients. To add a new agreement, you can click new agreement from here or in your client space. But you'll want to make sure that each of your agreements is attached to a client because this is a written agreement between you and someone else. And if there's no someone else, then you probably don't need an agreement, alas. So you'll click on add and you'll add it to a client, and then you'll choose a proposal, a contract, a quote, or you can start from a template. When you use the same agreement over and over again, you can save that as a template, and then every time you need an agreement that is similar, you can start from your agreement template. The main difference between each of these is what happens by default. By default, in a quote, you're going to get an agree button. And by default, in a contract or a proposal, you're going to get e-signatures. So let's take a look at the defaults for a quote. You'll see you just have a really simple header. You have your name and your client name. You have the contact information and a project. Here you'll see a project with its deliverables. You can set up your fees so that your client knows how much it's going to cost, whether that is hourly, a fixed price, recurring, or you charge per each deliverable that you are doing. You can also set up your fees here as well that you want to collect for a deposit. And you'll see you get the default accept button here. You can always add more things to a quote as well. Let's get into what the others look like, and you can see all of the options for blocks that you can add. So when it comes to creating a proposal, that is going to give you the most things by default. So in a contract, you will just have contact information and legal language plus an e-signature. When it comes to a proposal, you get a mix of both. So you can design your header, you can update all of this information. You have your name and your client's name, but you can always update how that looks as well. By default, you'll have a couple of text blocks here. One of the things that we believe is a great proposal lets your client know, hey, I heard your needs when we did a discovery call, and here is the way that I'm going to solve that for you, and here's what it costs. So we include these default text boxes in your proposal. Here you'll see a project name. This is where you'll work within your project management. If you're going to use project management with Moxie, you want to start here in your agreement. You're going to create your project that you're going to work on. You can update this name to be whatever you'd like for the project, and you're going to set up the fees. This will look familiar from the quote. You can set up whatever fee type you're going to use, whether you're going to work on retainer, hourly, fixed price, or you can charge per each item. You'll choose an amount. You can choose to enable automations and payment here as well. This means that this will automatically create a project based on your project name, and we create an initial invoice with your deposit. And so on your agreement, if you have this toggled on, it will say X amount of dollars is due before work can be done. So they will need to you can toggle that on with this deposit, or you can turn it off. You can also say you want an approval to send a deposit invoice if you'd prefer to send a separate agreement, a separate document besides your agreement to get a deposit. However, we would also suggest that instead of doing a totally separate document, here in your proposal, you can also add an integrated payment. So before someone can sign this before they can sign this document, they'll have to do this integrated payment. So when you have your fee structure set up here, let's say you're going to have a fixed price of $1,000. You can see that we are going to ask for 50% on from here, and you can show the initial invoice amount on the agreement because I have this payment information entered here. So 50% of my $1,000 is $500. So now when someone signs this, they also need to enter their credit card information so that they can pay and you can start work. And you get a deposit and an agreement and a signed contract before you even begin your work. A really great way to set up a fantastic foundation for you and your work with this client. Let's say you want to do multiple projects with this client. You can insert block and you can choose to add a fee structure with deliverables. If you have created several projects that you normally do with your clients, you can add that from a saved template here. Let's say we want to do this retainer project. So for this project, I am going to set this on a recurring rate for $1,000 every single month. And that will add to here as well. And you can decide, do I want this client to choose one package? Do I want them to pick multiple packages? Or are all of the packages that I have listed here required? Depending on how you run your business, you can also use these blocks to add in upsells. So let's say you are going to work on retainer. It's something you've already talked about, and you can add in in to add in that you also have some SEO expertise. This is a great way to do that by allowing clients to select multiple packages. As you can see, this payment information is going to update. So after your clients select which plan they're going to use, then this payment information will update. You can see if I have all packages required, I've got a total of $2,000 here that now I've got my amount here to start based on what I have chosen as I set up the fees. Also, in these blocks, you can add in your contract terms. This is legal language that was written by a lawyer who is an expert in law for freelancers in the US. It's great practice for you to have your own legal counsel, but we have a good framework written here. You can choose also some of these more common things like allowing credit card fees to be passed on to the client. You can toggle that on and off, granting license for frameworks and right to display work in your portfolio. You'll add in your information here, add in the client's legal name, and if you are a legal expert yourself, you can click convert terms to editable text, and then the terms will be available for you to make any edits that you see necessary. You use your signature here to sign and then send it off to your clients for them to sign as well. After you have finalized your document, you'll click share and then finalize, and you'll either be able to send this via a Moxie email. So you can create a template here if you're always sending the same kind of agreements, a proposal. You can use a Moxie email here. You can also send it just with a link, or you can download a PDF as well. No matter how you send it, your clients will be able to add comments. And if they do, you'll be able to see those written here, and you can comment back or choose to leave a comment that's just a note for yourself as a private comment, or you can choose to send an email alongside this comment so that your client will see, there's a response to the comment that I made. You can also track the history of this agreement. You can see exactly the information when this was created, when it was sent, and as things get updated, like things are signed or viewed, you'll be able to see that there as well. Make sure that you never work without an agreement. Once this has been signed, if you have this set up so that your projects create themselves, you will see an automatic project created in your projects here with exactly the deliverables that you created. And from there, you'll also see that now those projects are set up with the fee type that you created, and you can use that to create an invoice as well. The pipeline that allows you to do your your agreement and your projects and your invoices, all of those things working together is exactly the strength of Moxie. You don't have to go one place for this, another place for this, and try to get it all set up yourself. Automations will help take you through that process of agreement to projects to sending an invoice so quickly and without you having to do much more than make sure it's set up the way that you want.